Yeah. Bama Jamma, coming back at you again with another one. Alright, before I get to my topic, Super Bowl 58, 1st to 9. Yeah, that's the topic. And I got a lot of things I'm going to squeeze into this thing tonight. But first off, let me hit this right here. Let me give you some facts about the AFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, and how they came to be. Alright, let's start by coming up with where they came from. They came from the original AFL. That's the American Football League. They started that back in 1960. And the reason why they started that was because the NFL, the good old boys network, wouldn't let these guys in. We talking about some rich boys, rich guys. Lamar Hunt, Bud Adams down in Houston. They wouldn't let them in. So Lamar Hunt said, well, okay, we'll form our own league. We got plenty of money, and we'll go head to head with the NFL since they won't let us in. So what they did, they formed their own league. And what ended up happening, where they got the advantage over the NFL was, they went after a lot of the small school black players. The AFL was a nest for most black athletes, black football players back in the day. They got more of a chance to shine in the AFL versus the NFL. The NFL back at that time was predominantly white. They didn't think that they needed us to get the league thriving. But that ain't the case nowadays. And it's going to tie all into what I'm talking about. But anyway, the Chiefs, they started back in 1959, August 14th. And the first season was in 1960. And did you know where they played their first season at? 3 seasons, actually. Dallas, Texas. And the name of that team used to be the Dallas Texans. And their coach at the time was Hank Stram. Hank Stram coached them for about 10 years, I believe. But they moved to... before I get into the move, let me tell you why they moved. They wasn't getting the kind of support that they needed in Dallas, even though they were winning more games than them Cowboys. Cowboys was in the National Football League. They were a scrub team. I mean scrub. Wasn't winning no games. They were terrible. But they were getting more support than Lamar Hunt's team that was stationed in Dallas also. And plus, he hadn't even won a championship in Dallas. So what ended up happening, he said, okay, since y'all won't give me no support, he set out to find him another safe haven to put his team. So that's how he ended up in Kansas City. Moved to Kansas City in 1963. So when he moved to Kansas City, he said, well, I tell you what, we gonna change the name. Because we can't be the Kansas City Texans. That just ain't gonna fly. So he said, well, okay, we're going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. And boom, that's how they ended up in Kansas City. And one of the facts that I want to let you know about is the Chiefs actually played in the first Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers back in January the 15th, 1967. They went on to lose that game 35-10. During that time, the NFL used to have this thing where they say, well, okay, the NFL is superior than the AFL. And that's what they used to say. So they went on to win that first Super Bowl, won that second Super Bowl. The Oakland Raiders made it to that second Super Bowl, and the Packers beat them too. The Packers were the darlings of the NFL. So, what ended up happening, that third Super Bowl, that's when my man Broadway Joe from the University of Alabama, let me get a roll tide, came up in there and made that guarantee. that he was going to beat them Colts. The Colts hadn't lost but one game that year. And the reason why they lost that game was because they were coasting into the playoffs. But anyhow, they came in so overrated, so pumped up that they was going to beat the brakes off the Jets that most of them bet on their own team. Boy, I tell you. But Broadway Joe and them Jets put that thing on Baltimore. Yes, sir. The Baltimore Colts put that thing on. Bubba Smith and all them boys over there, they couldn't do nothing with Broadway Joe. He was putting that ball down the field. Excuse me. Anyway, the Chiefs went on to win their first Super Bowl, which was the second victory for the AFL back in 1970. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 23-7. Joe Cap was their quarterback for the Vikings, and Lenny Dawson was the Chiefs quarterback. And guess how long it took them to get back to that Super Bowl and win another one? 2020, when Patrick Mahomes beat them 49ers. That was the first time he beat them. They're going to beat them again in 58. Watch what I tell you now. And they won the third one last year with them Eagles. And I still say they didn't win it. They had a whole lot of help. Them referees, boy, don't let me get it started. My blood pressure going up already. I have to do that, get my pressure down. So y'all bear with me. But anyway, talk about some of the greats that played for Kansas City. You had Abner Hayes. Abner Hayes was a small school running back, and he was the first 100-yard rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs. They say he was fast as lightning. Then you had the first black middle linebacker back in 1967 that played for the Kansas City Chiefs. That was Willie Lanier. Willie Lanier, smart, sharp on his feet, plugging up them holes. Yeah, that was a rarity back in them days because them white folks thought that blacks couldn't think on their feet. Didn't have the mental fortitude to be linebackers calling the plays. But Willie Lanier broke that barrier and showed them that he could. Then they had Bobby Bell. Bobby Bell, number 78. That boy there was fast. He was doggone plugging up them holes. He was putting that thing on them boys back in the day. Then you had Buck Buchanan. Buck Buchanan was a big black man. And they say he was strong as a bull. And then you had my man, number 99, Ernie Ladd. Ernie Ladd was a huge brother too. And you know Ernie Ladd did a little wrestling too. I used to see him back in the day with the NWA. You know what I'm saying? That boy used to put that thing on them boys. Anyway, let me get a roll tide. Now we're going to get to the crust of the matter. We're going to talk about that old Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Now, it's a whole lot of hoopla talking about Patrick Mahomes. You know, Patrick Mahomes was an little above average college player. He had a good game here and there. But you know he had a real good game when they played Oklahoma one year. That boy threw for 734 yards against Oklahoma. That's in one game. And guess what? He was against the number one player in the college at that time. That was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield threw for like 500 some yards. And guess what? They lost. When I say they lost, we talking about Patrick Mahomes' team. They lost, even though he put up all them numbers. Anyway, The thing with Patrick Mahomes is the darling of the NFL nowadays. The NFL ain't stupid. They realize that the fastest growing segment of their viewership is black folks and Hispanics. Now, in their private books, the blacks and Hispanics are together. But the public books, they have to split them up to make you think, look at here, it's a difference. But they look at it as the same. So guess what they are doing? The powerhouses of the big wigs at the NFL said to themselves, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to have a light-skinned version of a black man. And we need to have him win the Super Bowls like Tom Brady. We need to build him up. That way we can capture the Hispanic and the black population. You heard what I said? I just gave you some inside information about how they handle their business. Let me get a roll tide. You can take it to the bank, or you can put it up under your mattress. It's still good. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen at that Super Bowl. If it's close, you can bet your bottom damn dollar that the referees going to help them pull it out. Just like they did last year with them Eagles. The Eagles came in supposed to have to follow the game plan that they wasn't going to play hard and let Kansas City just run away with it. But what ended up happening, the referees said, look at him. We can't let Philly win this game. Too much money on the line. Vegas gonna lose and everybody else gonna lose. You see the mountains back there in the back? That's the Grand Canyon back there. I'm still out here in Vegas. But I'm telling you what's gonna happen. If it's close, San Francisco, y'all might as well go and get ready to take that L. Because ain't no way in hell the NFL gonna let y'all win that damn Super Bowl. Too much money riding on this game. And they can't let y'all run up out of there with a victory. Telling you what I know now. If you don't believe me, check out the scope. Let me get a roll tide. But anyway, I wrote a song about the whole thing. You wanna hear it? Here it go. Dum 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 dum. Patrick Holmes. Patrick Mahomes. Lately, I've been kinda wondering how you gon' cheat in my face. Cause I'm not too sure how the Eagles feel by how you stole that damn Super Bowl. And I know when you know the refs done got together to show them how it's gon' work. Cause if I see a ref at the bank on Monday, he gon' end up hurt. Oh, I know so. That's the way I feel. I'm so afraid the outcome's not real. Despite leagues behind Pat Mahomes, will you steal another game, man? The refs gon' help you despite the leagues behind Pat Mahomes. They done already crowned you king because they think you are white. Uh-oh. Bama Jamma putting it down. Standing on business. Let me get a roll tide. We out here. Remember? 49ers, you're gonna lose. It's already written. We out of here. Peace.